right, everybody. Hi, I'm Gavin Mehl, and the intention of the talk today is going to be two things. One, I'm going to give everyone action steps that they can actually take that will transform their health, like it transformed mine. It costs nothing. It's not about pills. There's nothing to buy at the end of this. There's no exercise you have to do, and there's no diet you have to be on to do this. It's the most, out of everything I've ever done in health, my whole life, this is by far the most important. And you can't get this from a doctor. So this information right here is incredibly valuable. And I'm just going to leave a challenge that one person follows through on this next year, and they come back and they say, oh my God, they'll be in tears on how much their life has changed. Because I'll be honest right now, and I travel internationally, people will come up to me on the street, and I mean, I'd say like 3 million people have watched my stuff about this, and they'll come up to me, and somebody will always stop me and say, thank you for explaining that to me, because it's changed my life. I mean, sick people. This one guy stopped me in Scottsdale. He's like, I had chronic, it was like chronic Crohn's disease. He was like a 29-year-old guy. He stops me in Whole Foods. And he's like, oh, excuse me, sir. I'm like, yeah, do I know you? He's like, no, you don't know me, but I watched your videos, and I followed all that process, and I had Crohn's disease, and I don't have it anymore because I followed through on this. Look at me, I'm healthy. I was going to die, I mean, this is one of many that people have just literally just come up to me like this. So it inspires me to keep sharing that information, and it's so the second thing I want to discuss, which I'm going to turn the recording off, is about operating in the private, okay? And operating in the private is a legal process that we can all do that isn't disclosed. But if you ever watched the video Fall Cabal, has anybody watched that video? Fall the Cabal?
Yeah, I'm up to 28.
Yeah. So do you remember the segment about the Gates Foundation?
Yes.
Did that make you either disappointed or wonder how did they not pay? How did they do that? They're so wealthy and they didn't.
Foundations and trust.
Yeah, how did that all work? You ever wonder? So hopefully I can give you some of the clues as to how that was done, and that will be. So that's what we're going to discuss. And all right, that's it. So let's get started. So before. Before engaging in any of the homeopathic stuff, I recommend that everybody talk to a physician or like a licensed professional. That's not me. All right, I'm just going to share my story, and you guys go out and get some advice from somebody who knows what they're talking about. Okay. All right. So, but it seems like a lot of people believe that gallstones only show up in the gallbladder. Does anybody ever know anybody who had their gallbladder removed? You guys all know somebody who hasn't had it? Has anybody in this room? Yeah. Okay. So what we're taught is we go in and the gallbladder, there's stones in there, and it has to be removed, or we have a procedure. Just not really much we can do because we're under attack, and it's a burning sensation, right? It's like fire, and you just feel like you're going to die. The gallstones are coming out of you; they're spilling out of the gallbladder. So we believe that we're taught. It seems like we're taught that that's just the only place they are. And so it seems like, it looks like most medical doctors, they specialize in treating the actual problem, but not the cause. In fact, I don't know of one that treats the cause. I still have yet to find one. But it looks like with, so modern medicine, they lack, have you ever noticed that they lack the ability to actually treat the liver? It's like, isn't it the brain and the liver, the two most complicated? They can't just, so we're going to give you liver surgery today. Have you ever heard of like somebody getting liver surgery? I've never. Or what about a liver replacement? Has that ever happened?
Crosby.
I don't. Pardon?
Crosby, Stills, and Nash had a liver replacement.
So okay, so there has been somebody that's done it. So if you're super rich and you can pull that off somehow, it may be possible. I wouldn't imagine the price of that would be, but that's good to know that it's been done now. So Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So, was it David Crosby?
Yes, it was.
All right, so Johns Hopkins University, it actually is the only, reputable university that you can find this material online from somebody that is credible, in my opinion, because I deal like in the legal aspects, I deal with facts and law. And if it's not facts and law, it's hearsay. All right, and no judgment, but I'm just dealing with the facts and law. So Johns Hopkins, it actually is a credible source, and what they did is they identified that not just the gallbladder, but the liver had something called interhepatic. They call it interhepatic gallstones. And what they would do is inside their own published journals online, they have procedures and all these diagrams you can see of people's liver, and it doesn't even show, the pictures don't even show them. Because what they say is that the CT scans, the X-rays, and any of these procedures, X-rays, ultrasonic scans, and CT scans don't show them. They're totally invisible. It's not even there. So Johns Hopkins University, they came up with some solutions, and they did do surgery on some patients. But does anybody want to get surgery on their liver? I mean, what is the chance of success of that? Maybe if you're David Crosby, you could pull it off, but that just sounds scary to me. Very scary. So, you know what? It looks like the reason, though, that we're having cancer. It's possible that the reason that we're having cancer, tumors, and poor health is congestion. Is that possible? That our body's congested? I mean, the lymph system, the blood vessels, the connective tissue, all being congested. But where does it stem from? Anyone know? The liver. But why don't we deal with that? Why don't we do something about it? We never knew how, right? We didn't know what to do. We just have this liver in us, and it's doing its thing. And has anybody ever had pain in their liver, or known that you have? Okay, so you have had pain. So up to the number that Johns Hopkins came up with was up to 70,000 of these interhepatic gallstones can be in the liver until what they would call suffocation occurs in death. And meaning that you really may be tired, you might feel some pain, but you really you can't say that's what it is. And you go to the doctor and he takes into these scans and he says, well, everything looks fine. We don't know what the problem is. Okay, but what Johns Hopkins University found is that these things were actually produced from bile, coagulated bile. And not only were they in the gallbladder, they were inside the liver. And and they could be up to 70,000 of them. I mean, that's scary to think about. But what could you expect to get if you actually follow through with this? After 1 year, let's say you'd follow through with this, and it would be once a month, 1 day a month. That's it. No diet, no food changed, no exercise change. No, once a month, that's it. If you actually follow through with it, what people have experienced is removed back pain, increased energy, disease-free life, less sick, more flexible, way more flexible, that's what I've gotten. And for me, the motivation for me was twofold. One, I had asthma, chronic asthma. Asthma's the worst, man. You go around and you're breathing, you're taking the inhaler. You ever watch the movie Goonies where the guy's sniffing the inhaler? It's not a way to live, okay? When I was a kid, it was okay, but after a while, I was like, I gotta shake this asthma. I'm over this, So I was on a quest to figure it out. You're taking the inhaler every night, and you're taking other inhalers. I know it's bad for me, all that stuff in there, and pills. I was like, I gotta stop this. So for me, it got rid of the asthma. Okay, it got rid of the asthma totally. I don't have asthma anymore. I was like, hallelujah to that. I mean, that was the biggest thing. Clear mind, inner and outer beauty. And then this was my other motivation, to reverse the aging process. I just was obsessed with this on a quest to buy all these supplements. I was spending $800 a month on supplements. $800. Is that insane? Does anybody else spend a ton of money on this stuff? I mean, some people do, right? And it might be good. I don't know. I'm not here to sell supplements, okay? But I was spending that, and I totally stopped all that. I don't need the supplements personally anymore. There's a couple of minor things that may help, but they don't cost $800 a month. So now let me go ahead and through I want to just share a couple. So back in, you guys ever remember there was a story of a monkey. Okay, so I'll give you a story of a monkey. If scientists had put a monkey, basically they wanted to capture a monkey. If you ever want to capture a monkey outside in the wild, what scientists have discovered is they just put food in a jar and make it small. The jar is small enough so that when the monkey puts his hand in there, he gets the food and he closes his hand like this in a rock and can't pull it out of the jar. Then he's trapped. And then they catch the monkey. He's trapped. He's not free because of this obsession on the food. And it's obsession, and they don't do this. So, if there was a story where back in probably like the turn of the century, there was a warden, not a prison warden, but a warden for animals. And what he would do is he would have all these animals enclosed in a cage down in the valley. And inside the valley, he opened up the cage after a few years. But after he opened up the cage, the animals never left. They just didn't leave. This was in, I believe it was in New Mexico. And the animals stayed there, even though the cage was open. And the people would go down there and they thought they were in the cage. The animals were free. I tell you this because sometimes we have in our mind these habits where we believe we can't do something because we've been taught or where we were born or where we're from. But I mean, I just came from a middle-class family. I didn't get born with a silver spoon in my house. Yeah, I'm white. Yeah, I'm from the city. Grew up in Sacramento. And we weren't poor, but I wasn't rich, okay? And just because you weren't rich where you were, you could still do anything you set your mind to. If you just, unlock that little structure, that doubt, just like these animals had. You ever hear of the flea circus? Anyone ever heard of this? So they used to put fleas in a jar like this, and the fleas would be in this jar, and you watch them, they would jump up to the top over a period of time. After enough time would pass, you'd open the jar up, and the fleas would jump, they would just stop jumping. They wouldn't jump out. You've heard of that? Yeah. So it's just, they've been trained, and that's us. Me. That's me. I was trained like that. So that's how I was trained until I realized, it's like, wait a second, these doctors, this isn't the solution. They're giving me this medicine for my asthma. It's okay. I get relief, but I'm never, ever better. Why am I not getting better? Why can't I get rid of it? And nobody can answer that for me. No doctor, no practitioner, no friend. It wasn't until I discovered the book by accident. I found this book at my house. I used to have a lot of parties. I want to make sure I'm on a timer. So I'd have all these parties, and somebody would left a book at my house, all right? And I pulled it out of a drawer. Nobody was there. I was like, a book at my house? Oh my gosh, what's this? Oh, it was by this guy, Andres Mortz. Never heard of him. I was like, must be a sign from God. This is like, I'm thinking at the time, like, this is from God. This is important, right? Read this book. I took it serious. It's like, okay, God, I'm going to read this book, see what it's all about, I just started immediately. And I started reading this book cover to cover, took notes, and I said, I'm going to just follow whatever this stupid book is. And I don't really believe it, but it is what it is. And I started right there. It was called The Amazing Liver and Gallbladder Flush by this guy, Andres Mortz. And I started that day on the process and never looked back. I did it 18 times in the first 2 years and pretty much felt like I was done. If you go back and watch my videos on YouTube at that time, I'm a freaking shredded like a shredded cheese, and I am right now, I'm very lean, always, but you look at it just like, oh my gosh, this guy's on to something. So I'm like, I think I'm done with the liver flush. I've done it 18 times, I don't need to do it anymore. So I took about a year off. I did it another time. I think 2020 I did it once. 2021 I did it like twice. And then this year I've done it 3 times. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. We got 10 more minutes on this, and then I'm going to change the subject. This is how it works. Then I'm going to tell you exactly what the one thing I added to it that made the biggest difference. Okay? So you're going to experience, this is what's going to happen. When you do it, stones inside of you are going to come out between the size of BBs to the size of silver dollars. Okay? This big at times. And it's, ouch. Do you realize the biggest organ in your body is the liver? It's not even close. I mean, The stones like this were coming out of me, okay? And I'd look at them, and if you were to cut them open, this toxic smell is gonna about make you pass out. And you're like, what is this stuff, you know? And it's these what Johns Hopkins University said, it's these interhepatic gallstones. And they're just festering in there, inside the liver, completely unknown. We don't feel it. We may have a little pain, maybe a little tired, but there's no way to identify them. Is anybody else here buzzing?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I close that? Do you mind if I close that?
For the shop there, breathing place.
Oh, never mind, it's fine. Okay, so that's the, now here's how it works. Let me tell you the process, all right? It's very simple. It's very, very easy. Every single new moon, this is right from the book, it's 262 pages. And every new moon, you set your calendar. So that would have been Tuesday or Monday, because I just did it. So next month, on the new moon, you set your calendar, and you're gonna plan that day. That day, you wanna fast. You wanna you could have juice, you could have water, coffee, really light, fruit maybe, but no heavy food. Prepping before that for 7 days, all right? Now this is not a fast for 7 days, but for 7 days, you can do two things. One, drink apple juice every day. Just add apple juice to your diet. Or, what I do is I get the best pure kind of malic acid. Buy the most pure, raw, organic malic acid you can find at the health food store. You take that just throughout your day with water, with your meals. What that's gonna do is it's gonna soften up those stones. And then, so 7 days, like clockwork, up until the new moon. On the new moon, you're fasting. Now at this point, women, this will be easy for you. But men, you have to go to a professional for this. But for women, this is a piece of cake. You have to do like a high enema that day of the fast. All right? Men have never probably done that, so they need to go to what's called colonic irrigation professional and have it done professionally. It costs like $100 to do that. But if you're a woman, most women are pretty familiar with that, and then you can just go on Amazon and get something, and it will help you out with that. And so you just got to make sure the colon is totally clean that day of the flesh. Okay, now this is on a timeline, 6 o'clock. So that day you're fasting and you clean out your colon that day during the fast. So anytime, noon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, clean that sucker out with a high enema. 6 o'clock, Epsom salt and water. So for Rita here, who had her gallbladder removed, had she known that Epsom salt and water is all that's necessary to trigger a painless gallstone, release. It's all it's needing. Because what it does is it opens up the bile ducts. So when you have Epsom salt and water at 6 o'clock, it's going to be one of the worst tasting things you've ever had. So close your nose like this and drink the water. Drink it. It's going to be disgusting.
How much do you?
I usually put like a tablespoon. So it's shake it up in a mason jar. Shake it in a mason jar, let it dissolve. If you put a lemon there or a lime, if you really can't take it, put it in first. Lemon or lime in your mouth. Then close your nose, and then drink it, until it's gone. That's going to be the hardest part, is the taste of the Epsom salt. At 8 o'clock, you have to do it again. But this is the way to do it safe, because you're going to have no pain.
You do it at 6 and you do it at 8.
8 o'clock, you have to do the Epsom salt and water again. All right, same thing, same procedure. Close the nose, lemon, lime, Epsom salt and water. Let it dissolve in a mason jar, shake it up. Now comes the real magic.
Just a cup?
A mason jar, like 12 ounce, 16 ounce mason jar. All right, that's the hardest part, is that I'm telling you, that's the worst. That's the worst of it right there. Now you're gonna I've always used grapefruit juice, but after 27 liver flushes, now I'm on 27, I have, I think a gag reflex with the grapefruit juice or something. I can't be around it anymore. I see it. So lemon juice, I used lemon juice for the first time this time, and it was actually more effective. So pure, organic, fresh squeezed lemon juice, right out of a lemon, put it in there, and half of a mason jar, say about 8 ounces. Okay? Olive oil, the best cold pressed olive oil you can find. Not the stuff from China or from Italy, Napa, high grade, really Napa. You can buy high-grade Napa olive oil at Whole Foods. Yeah. Just make sure that it says non-GMO and it's organic, Napa. Because they've tainted the Italian olive oil now with...
olive oil mafia.
Yeah, it's tainted with vegetable oil. So they've tested it, it's shown, it's like, that's not even olive oil. So make sure that it's most importantly non-GMO, and then it has the organic, because you're gonna put the olive oil with the lemon juice in that mason jar. Now I've done many different amounts. I used to do like 8 ounces of olive oil. That's a lot. I don't do that anymore. It's disgusting, okay? You only need about a cup of olive oil from my experience to trigger this. So a small cup, okay? And then with the lemon juice, add as much lemon juice as you want, but at least the same amount of the olive oil. All right? What that's gonna do is it's gonna trigger the gallbladder to produce bile. You know what the bile is? When you eat a healthy meal, like a really healthy, oily meal at an Italian restaurant, you produce a lot of bile, and some people can get a gallstone attack from that. If they have a lot of gallstones, this is gonna give you this is gonna trigger a gallstone attack. But it's not gonna be pain, no pain, because of the Epsom salt. So the olive oil, the lemon juice, in that little glass, shake it up. Again, for me, this part doesn't taste bad. So with the lemon juice, it was fine. I just literally drink it down, lay down in bed. This is 10 o'clock. So remember, it's 6, 8, 10 p.m. on the day of this is on the new moon. Lay down in bed, just relax. You know, in the book he tends to put lanolin, which is like wool. You could do that. You can get soak it in all apple cider vinegar if you want, and put it over here. Meditate, just quiet music, incense, and start going to sleep. And start kind of visualizing the stones coming out. Feel it. Try to listen to something really quiet, calm, relaxing. You know, if you're sensitive, you will feel them moving. It will feel weird. I still feel them today. This last Monday, I still felt it. I was like, oh, there it is. I can feel it moving around. You know, and it's a turning. It's like this. It's like a dropping of little droplets moving around, little pebbles, like coming out. It's a weird feeling, but it doesn't hurt. It's a gallstone attack from the liver. That's it, yeah.
These came out of me.
Oh, you did it?
Oh yeah, I've been doing this since '95.
Oh, let's see. Tell people. I didn't know that. Wow. What's your name?
Well,
you know.
Charlton.
Charlton, okay. Did you read the book from Andres Lawrence, or how'd you find it?
I was downloaded the information by some other brother up in New York.
Wow.
And, he was telling me this back in '91 for the citizens of a new America.
What was the benefits that you got? What was the reason you did it?
There's a lot of things that had occurred, because even if you're angry, you're that angry.
Make sure you're on the microphone. Well, if you're going to record, this is really good. Here, take this. Yeah, you got it.
Yes, even though it could happen from what I experienced, I did this to me. I started doing it once every 3 months because I saw things coming out, and I was doing it till I could see any more things come out. Then I did it as a treatment like 6 months and then once a year. But for me, it was like it was really easy for me. I didn't even feel anything. It just went, you just flush it out. And it comes out in your stool, so you got the, oh, please no, please get me out.
Oh, okay.
I'm a public figure, that's why. I'm a voice.
So you said you did it every 3 months.
But then when I was finding out all that anger, all that negativity that you get from the 3 negative emotions, you got anger, fear, sadness, and you got happiness. You got 3 against 1. So throw your ego in the mix, and that's a whole other revolution there. But then once these were passing out, I felt lighter. A lot of things like more energy. And you're cleaning it all out. And then also did the colonics too.
Your colonics before and after. Good.
Flush it out, and then once you really clean it out, you just do it as a maintenance.
Yeah, now it's in a maintenance every once a year or something. Right. That's where I'm at. Right now I'm doing it 3 times. So one of the things you mentioned was the emotions. And as a man, I don't have as much emotional vibration as a woman as women probably do. But probably around the 20, it was after I'd done 20 of them. I had an emotional breakdown. Like I had one of the tears, I got emotional. I think I released something that I was holding on to. It was with my mother. I told my mom about this, and it was something, a hidden resentment for her that I had not realized. And it was about her being dominant, my dad being, letting her control the house and telling me what to do, and he was chill, and he would give me anything, spoil us, and she was like, no, you can't do it. She was running the house. And I believed it built up some resentment that I didn't know about. And it was like, that came out of me. I called her, I was really upset. I was happy, but it was that releasing of that. Go ahead, yeah. Was there something?
In Chinese medicine, the emotion associated...
Microphone, check.
We have to capture it.
We have to capture this. In Chinese medicine,
the emotion associated with the liver is anger and resentment.
makes sense.
Yes.
And then once you release it, would it make sense that like goes away and you go into this?
Yeah, if you're cleaning that
Go
out.
into this. I would say it's where someone dies, grieving. I went into grieving. That's what. Did you ever feel the grieving?
Yeah.
Weird. I've had the grieving multiple times. Why am I grieving? I lost something. Someone died. Yeah, that stuff all came out of me. It'd been in me for 20 years. You imagine how long all the drinking, I don't drink, but the amount of drinking and damage that I put on my body for so long, that never got resolved. I mean, well, it got resolved now. So that's the procedure. Now, the last step is make sure to clean the colon out the next day. Okay, the next day you clean the colon out again, and you're done. You wake up, and it's going to be like you said. You're going to have this release, and as long as you fast and you clean your colon out each time, you're safe. You have no pain. It's an amazing process. Why you can't just go to a doctor for this? I don't know. Maybe because they don't make any money. There's stupid household ingredients. I mean. And they say, get a surgery at Johns Hopkins University. Johns Hopkins is the only one that actually identified these things. No doctor believes they even exist, I guess because you can't identify them on their scans. They don't show up for some reason.
Because I actually think that the way the body...
Microphone, check, Rita.
The biochemical of the body is actually the most significant in body.
The what?
The biochemical of the body.
The bile.
The biochemical.
Biochemical.
Of the body, it actually sets all these things up. And it resets it by doing something like that. I have realized that after.
It's not too late. If you had your gallbladder removed, it's not too late. She had one too.
Just clarification, you said prep 7 days before with the malic acid.
Yeah.
So just like you're just putting that in your water, and the water you're drinking for those 7 days, it's in it always?
Malic acid capsules, or malic acid, the most raw form, or apple juice. That has malic acid in it. You were going to raise a microphone. Come up here. And I'm going to so after this, without objections, we're going to change the subject into the private stuff.
And you were saying that there was something that you special that you've added to it?
Oh, yes. Oh, good. Thank you. This is the most important thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering about the apple juice, because I was actually intending to do a juice cleanse and not like this feeling I should do the colonics too. So I thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to know about the apple juice. Like, is it just as effective if we mix it with ginger and like kale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the purpose of using the apple juice is to get the malic acid.
Okay.
If you want to mix it with something, that's great.
Perfect.
It has to be done each day for 7 days. You're drinking the apple juice for 7 days to get that malic acid, to soften those stones up. Because if you haven't done this before, the stones are going to be rock hard. When they come out of you, you're going to be like, you could throw them on the ground and it's going to click like a pebble. That was because it's calcified. It's amazing. So the last thing that I added. Okay, I did this the last 2 times. 2 months ago when I did it, I had 0 results. I thought, I wonder if I'm done. Because you'll know when you're done, first of all, when you have a totally flat stomach. You'll know when you're done. That's the first identifier, because there will be no more liver bulge. You'll have a totally flat stomach. That's the first sign. The second sign you'll know when you're done is when you do 2 liver flushes and nothing, absolutely nothing comes out. Zero, not a little bit, nothing. So I did that one, and I thought, maybe am I close? Then I didn't. So I took a month off, and I came back and I did it this time. Now that last time I did this, I did a pinch of Epsom salt in with the olive oil and lemon juice, just a pinch.
And how much olive oil was it?
I would say I've done multiple amounts, but I'd say a cup is about enough. Especially if you're only about under 150 pounds, you know, a cup is plenty. It's going to trigger your gallbladder. Now, this last time was the same thing. I put a pinch of the Epsom salt inside the lemon and olive oil, just a pinch. And I put this one on YouTube just like this week actually, and it was huge. I couldn't believe it was at least 2,000 stones. After doing 27, I'm thinking, how many more are there? I'm like, I feel like that's not even. I feel like I'm still not okay. If I just had 2,000 stones, and I've done this many, I'm like, I eat healthy. I drink pure water. I don't eat junk. There's just something, water, there's air, there's pollution. Something's causing that. I don't know what. But we're being, bombarded by toxins everywhere we go. We can't get it. So it's air, something is causing, so it's built up again. And I'm going to have to keep doing it until it's done.
Is there anything you absolutely do avoid? I know you said you don't.
GMOs and fluoride. Those are the two things I absolutely avoid. That's hard to do. GMO food, think about it. How can you avoid that, right? So now I want to change. Any other questions on this?
Oh no.
Stop recording.